as the exchanges are suddenly concerned about what retail margin collapses may mean for the non-existent wealth effect. One of the lesser speculations on why the CME is doing this is tied to the Federal Reserve's fear of inflation and rising commodities because of quantitative easing too. The new margins, ironically, will have little effect against the silver shorts such as JP Morgan and HSBC, but will cause a slowdown of metal longs and allow the manipulation by the banks to keep on running. Yeah, it may slow down the longs, meaning the people betting that silver is going to go up, but it doesn't matter. It's going up. It's going to go nuts. It doesn't matter. Slow it down all you want. It's inevitable. And I have some notes here. Look at some of my last videos. Wild Colleen. I put up a video a few days ago. Wild Colleen was a direct web bot hit with amazing accuracy. I also did before that one a solar radiation video, and it's exactly what they said would be happening. About flying over, in airplanes and getting radiation poisoning, skin cancer, too much UV light on your skin causing problems, sunburns, etc. All of a sudden, this article comes out of nowhere from scientists who are now concerned all of a sudden. That was in the Webbot report a long time ago. You can't tell me, people were probably talking about that on the internet one day, and the Webbot snuck by and copied it and made it into a prediction. No way. No way. So that's why I still have to pay attention to this damn Webbot, even if it's wrong from time to time or whatever. It's right a lot of times. That's enough for me to keep paying attention, so I have at least an idea of what might happen. Not even knowing of an event is one thing. Knowing of an event in specific details that you would never ever even know is huge. Even if there's a 25% probability, 50% probability, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to pay attention. You don't have to pay attention if you don't like it. That's your business. So, another thing, the DREAM Act. This is something that just came up to me. The DREAM Act was something that Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the bozos in Congress really wanted to get passed. The DREAM Act gives all illegal aliens full citizenship immediately. And November 12th, Politico reports that Nancy Pelosi has tapped the help of 2 California Democrats to measure how the Democratic caucus would take up the bill. As far as it stands currently, recently ousted House members really have nothing to lose if they voted in the affirmative of the DREAM Act. In other words, they're going home anyways, so they might as well do something on their way out. As the legislative clock winds down for the 111th session of Congress, their tenure as representatives of their constituents is coming to a close. So they may, let's just say here, early December comes, and they pass through a lame duck session of Congress the DREAM Act. How many people out there who said, that damn Webbot, massive miss of a massive epic failure of all failures. They, the 14th came and went, and nothing happened that day. The next day, the day after, there's their plus or minus 2 or 3 days that they always ask for. Nothing happened. No big significant event. It was nonsense. Would you, even though, let's say December, they do a lame duck session and actually pass the DREAM Act, enabling all illegal immigrants to get full citizenship. How pissed off, how much of an uproar would that cause? That absolutely, in my opinion, would be the big tipping point. If that had happened on November 14th, Sunday or Monday, a couple days ago, whatever, a day ago, that would fit the bill perfectly. We wouldn't even have to be talking about this epic failure. But it didn't. But what if it happens in a month from now? What if they actually do pass something like that? That would be a tipping point, massive. And again, as I always say, sometimes their dates just aren't right. If you look at it at more of a timeline of, okay, this happens, then that's going to happen next, and then after that, that should happen next, and then after that, that should happen next. You're really better off because you can actually see those things taking place, and you don't have this little magnifying glass. Today is the 13th. Nothing happened. Move along. I've been following it for 4 years. And again, the Wild Colleen, that was supposed to have already been here a while ago. That should have been a failed Webbot prediction. Yet here it is, just days ago. Wild Colleen. Again, she doesn't have to be right. She doesn't have to be smart. She can be a complete dumbass, complete wrong, lie through her teeth. It doesn't matter. She fits the absolute perfect prediction of Wild Colleen in the Webbot reports. There's a lot of details. I put it in the video that I made. That's amazing to me. The other thing, remember the title was something about somebody Frank and Wild Colleen. And they said this French guy is going to be French, have to do with the French and the word revolution and that kind of thing. And I look at, there's this video today of a guy. It turns out I thought it was just some French guy being interviewed. He's actually like some big, huge soccer player, over in that area. It's like, a big time athlete, big time all-star, is coming out saying, everybody, take your freaking money out of the banks, cause the banks to fail. You won't have to pick up a gun. You won't have to fire a shot. It is not illegal. You want to crash these banks and make them pay and make change come, that's good for you. Take your money out of the bank. We should set up a date and do this, not just the people in France on the 7th of December, but the whole world. And he's speaking in French, of course, and he's talking about this revolution. Again, right, coinciding with Wild Colleen all of a sudden, which they were. So Wild Colleen and this French guy, whatever, come out at the same time, basically, which is in the Webbot report. This is one of those things that should have already happened long ago, many months ago. So my advice to everybody, following the Webbot report, you kind of need to follow it like Lindsey Williams and the guy, that oil executive that used to talk to Lindsey and tell him the agenda, basically told Lindsey, we work off of a timeline. We don't work off of dates and time frames. It's simply, we're going to do this first, then we're going to do that. After that, we're going to do this. After that, we're going to do this. There's no such thing as, okay, in 2 months, we're going to do that. 2 more months later, we're going to do that. 3 months later, we're going to do that. Because time is irrelevant for these guys. They can't possibly make something happen, all these events and timelines or whatever, in the timeline to happen right when they need it to happen. So with Lindsey Williams, it's simply, soon we're going to see the price of oil do this. Soon after that, it's going to go back down to 50, blah, blah, blah. You almost need to probably do that if you're going to follow the Webbot report and say, yeah, believe me, they've gotten things down on the exact date of a prediction, exactly what they said. The financial collapse of 2008, which was the 7th and 8th of October, they nailed it. On that day, Iceland went bankrupt, the entire country. And that just rolled downhill from there. Bailout came from U.S. and TARP and all that nonsense. Came out, very soon after. So it's stuff like that where you say, yeah, the Webbot's real, it works. And then there's other times like Wild Colleen and this French guy. Man, that should have been here a while ago. And it didn't. Now all of a sudden it just pops up out of nowhere. Both of them together practically, within a few days of each other, 3 days of each other or so. Here they are. So, I mean, take it for whatever it's worth to you. But, I'm still going to follow the Webbot. I'm going to read the reports that I find interesting on my YouTube channel. And I know there's people out there who just, that thing, you guys got burned again. We didn't get burned again. We were absolutely let down. I'm telling you that now. This was an epic failure for them to come out and say, this big event's supposed to happen and you won't have to look for news. Trust me, it'll be on your lap, basically. That didn't happen. So why did they say it? Why didn't they just leave the Webbot, read the Webbot pages that talked about those time frames? Because if you read it, you wouldn't have come to that conclusion. So I don't know why Cliff and them said that. But they did say it, and he is the owner of it. So he's going to have to own up to that fact. Sorry about your luck, Cliff. You're going to have to, you're going to have to own up to that one. Having said that, I still appreciate the reports. I'm still going to buy the next report with a smile on my face. Again, I look at it as timeline events. Oh, yeah, I remember that was supposed to happen. Oh, yeah, that too. And I've seen all these things, coming into play. So, anyways, that's really all I got for you. And watch the next week, 2 weeks, and let's just see if this type of news, like the news I read you earlier about the 6th, the 7th, 8th of November, all that stuff, see if you start to hear news like that, weekly or bi-weekly even, that just gets worse and more, and, now another country's in trouble. Oh, my God, 2 more countries are in trouble. And, oh, my God, the dollar's crashing harder now. Gold and silver are rising, huge, $6, $7, $8 a day moves. Oh, my God, that kind of stuff. If that kind of stuff can happen over the next 2 months during the 62 or 63-day period after the tipping point thing or whatever of November 14th, then maybe there's something to it. And again, what if, like this DREAM Act thing that I was talking about, the DREAM Act that Nancy Pelosi is trying to get passed in lame duck session of Congress, which will give all the illegals full rights, citizenship. That would be a massive tipping point event. If it happens in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, are you really going to say, oh, that damn Webbot sucks? It blew that one. when something that big could happen. Maybe something does. I don't know. That's why I don't care if it misses a date. It's still in the data, and they run the next report, and it's still in the data then. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how soon. Other things that they completely miss don't come back in the data. It's over. Yeah, we missed that one. Gone. A lot of this main stuff we're all talking about lately and thinking about, that stuff is still in the data. You know, the wars, the Iran, the sun problem, the floods, the food shortages, all that stuff is still there. The death of the dollar is going to happen. The gold and silver is going to skyrocket. All that stuff is still there. It's not going away. And everyone said, oh, that was supposed to be last November to this November was the death of the dollar. We're already in November of this year, and the death of the dollar still hasn't taken place. Again, it's going to, and it may be this November to next November. It's the long-term data stuff that they never really seem to get right in my experience of following them. The short-term stuff is usually spot on. And in other words, they run the report, oh, check this out. This is in there. We haven't seen that before. Oh, it should be here in about a month or two. Then they give a date. Bam, it happens. This stuff's been in there for years. The death of the dollar, the sun problems, the space, weird stuff in space. I mean, all of this stuff. Global revolution, it's been in there for years. They just usually didn't report too much on it because it was so far out. And then as we get closer, more data comes, more descriptions, details come forward. So they think, oh, it must be this November. We know it's November. With all this data, it's got to be this November. They put out a forecast. November comes. Sorry about your luck. Didn't happen. Complete failure. But then they run the next report and the one after that, and it's in there. That means it's going to happen. Forget the dates right now and just go with a timeline of events. Okay, we talked about that in the report. He also talked about this. Okay, I saw that. Okay, there's Wild Colleen. There's the Frank guy. Okay, oh, there's the article about the people getting sunburned 40,000 feet up in the airplanes. We're getting somewhere now. Okay, other things are going to start popping up too. That's all I care about. I don't care if the date comes and goes. I really don't. Because I've seen the dates happen spot on. I've seen, again, with Wild Colleen. That was a long ago thing. It should have happened many, 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 many months ago. That should have already taken place. Didn't take place. That also means that Uncle, what's his name? Cousin Alexei, right? The supposed weird guy or slash extraterrestrial slash human thing, whatever, that gets broken free from some kind of prison or he's let go and he's videotaped and it gets on the internet and people realize, oh my God, I don't think he's human. He's talking as if he's from somewhere else. That should have already happened. But again, if Wild Colleen just happened, and then the Frank guy, the French guy happened just now, which should have already happened many, many months ago, then old cousin Alexei is still going to probably happen. Maybe it's next year. Just look at it as a timeline. If you can't do that and you want an absolute perfect profit-seeing device, you're out of luck. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. The Webbot's disclaimer. We are somewhat right. We are better than chance. That's it. That's all they've said. So for anyone to say, huge epic failure, even if this pans out to be an epic failure, it's one of the times they got it wrong. If I have a magic 8-ball and I shake it and the only answers are yes, no, looks good, maybe, well, that's pretty dumb, isn't it? What if you had a magic 8-ball that you weren't allowed to ask questions to? All you did was shake it and it gave you something different every time. And it said, oh, the following 4 things came up. There's a 25% probability that one of these will happen. Therefore, there's 4 of them, one of them's going to happen. Oh, earthquake, 300,000 people dead. What's the other one? Oh, the dollar's going to collapse from November of some year to November of another year. Huh. Okay. Third, war with Iran's going to take place. Israel's going to be involved. Oh, okay. And 4, whatever else. If you knew 1 of 4 chance of something taking place, and I'm just making this percentage up, I can tell you the Webbot and my following it, aside from the dates being not right sometimes, the events do happen, and they get a lot right. Far better than 25%. But even if it was just 25%, would you dismiss it and never even read it and never even know what the possibility is? It's not just telling you the outcome of a football game that you already know about. Oh, the Bucks are going to play, San Francisco or whoever. They're going to play the 49ers. I wonder who's going to win. No. They're telling you of something that you didn't even know was going to take place, and the outcome, and the players, etc. The only problem is sometimes the date, timing, etc. is just off. Sorry about your luck. Sorry about my luck. It just is what it is. 4 years of following this thing and figuring out when it's longer term data that's been in the Webbot report for many, many years, they are not right with the dates, period. If they get lucky and nail one perfectly when it comes to long term data, I'll be surprised. So anyways, that's all I got to say. I'm still going to follow the Webbot. Still going to report on it. And, have a little doom here and there. Never hurt anybody. After all, you can only have so many doomgasms per day. Just saying. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.